Services spokesperson Chrispin Phiri. A very good morning to you, Zoe. Thank you very much for your time. Essentially, can you first highlight the differences between parole and remission of sentence?
A remission of sentence is effectively reducing your sentence by a specified period which the president can determine. In this case, the king's sentence has been reduced by 1 year. Parole, however, is after having served a minimum required amount of your sentence, depending on your behavior as an inmate and depending on whether you have followed the rehabilitative processes within Correctional Services, you are then eligible for parole. You would recall also that the Minister of Justice, Mr. Ronald Lamula, did say in the remission announcement that the king is eligible for parole as of October 2019. So it's under that process and that regime in the law in which the king has been released.
Now, who qualifies for a remission of sentence?
We had set out the criteria quite extensively in our press conference, and I think this should be public information by now. But one of the things that we've said who qualifies for a remission is an offender who has not committed a certain category of crimes, and furthermore, an offender who is then classified as low risk. King Dalindyebo has not committed those crimes which we had spoken to, and also he has been classified as a low risk individual, and so then was also eligible for a remission process. And remission, by this we mean a reduction of his sentence from 1 year, by a reduction of his sentence by 1 year. And most importantly, remission does not mean release. Remission, dictionary definition, literally means reduce, whereas parole, on the other hand, requires you to report to Correctional Services or Correctional Services confirming your location and other various conditions which are imposed on various individuals on a case-by-case basis.
Now, due to the nature of this case, are there any other conditions attached to the king's release?
We are not at liberty at this stage to confirm what the conditions are. That's normally something that is done by the Correctional Services Parole Board, which is independent of the minister. The minister only enters when he is required to review their decisions. So they would set the conditions based on the inmate's behavior, based on various considerations that are before them at the time of deciding whether they grant an individual parole or not.
Is there anything abnormal about him being released on parole and, of course, being granted that remission?
As I had said, the minister had announced that the king was eligible for parole as of October after having served the minimum required amount of his sentence. And also, the criteria for remission was transparent. Everyone saw what the criteria was, and the king fell into that criteria. So nothing untoward. It is, as you were, normal processes in Correctional Service.
Seeing as we have you on the line, we'd also like to ask you more details around Kanya. When is he likely to be released?
He's also currently being subjected to the administrative processes in correctional facilities. And as soon as those are complete, we understand that individuals like him will be eligible to be released as soon as those processes are complete. We cannot put that to a time bar at this stage.
How different would his conditions be on the basis of release?
Like I said, these cases differ from individual to individual. So depending on how his behavior has been, depending on various issues that the parole board considers before them, certain conditions would be laid before if he were to be released.
We understand in reports it's alleged that he hasn't been well. Would that also count in his favor for an early release?
That is certainly a condition for consideration.
All right, we're going to wrap it up there. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Justice and Correctional Services spokesperson, Mr. Chrispin Phiri, just giving us more details around the remission and parole of King Dalindyebo, as well as that of the student activist Kanya, also likely to be released. Unable to give us more information on that at the moment.